We should really ostracize some of our European crowd and talk about that.
Live streaming now.
I know. They will hate it.
Have a massive drop in audience after that. Norway no longer loves Lance.
But I'm huge in Finland.
Finland still stick around.
Okay, looks like we have a live stream.
But I'm huge
What's
in
up,
Finland.
people?
Finland still stick around.
Whoa, we can.
Did that make the live feed?
Yes.
We have a live
Yes.
stream.
But I'm huge
What's
in
up, people?
Finland.
All right.
Finland still stick around.
Whoa, we can.
Did that make the live feed?
Yes.
We have a live
Yes.
stream.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
We need to
You're awfully
highlight.
squeaky today, man.
We need to highlight that 20-second segment and put it up as a separate segment.
But I'm huge in Finland.
Yes.
All right. Just about there, folks. We will get started in about 20 or 30 seconds.
I like it. Yeah.
Br-
What brand
Bran-
is this? Dry
Brandy
sparkling.
already. Brandy must be on. She says, "I still like Lance, and I'm not Finnish."
We're about to cause some issues in Scandinavia here. When's the Winter Olympics coming up?
I don't
Is that
know.
2022? No,
It's an election year, so 2020.
2020.
No, that's the Summer
You
Olympics.
said winter,
Summer,
summer.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So winter would be
2022.
2022.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Didn't hear that.
Speaking
key
of Finland
part.
and Norway,
Yeah.
cross country skiing.
They dominate.
Oh my god, yeah, that's such a fun sport to
That
watch.
and
Though.
what's is it biathlon where
Yeah.
they shoot? They're good at
That's
that
the one
too.
that's really fun to watch.
Yeah, they're good at all the winter stuff.
I just picture that's the sport that they were like, all right, we've hunted like this for hundreds of years. Let's just make it a sport.
Maybe. That's pretty cool.
You gents ready?
Ready?
Yes.
All right, we are recording. Looks good. We don't have anybody to not have a recording feed on this week. All right.
Lance has got the giggles today. Here we go.
This is not good. This
Deep
is
breath.
a bad start.
Bring it together, everybody.
Lance, schoolgirl romance.
Yeah.
All right. Seriously. Hi, welcome to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and I am here with Lance Hepler.
No pants, Lance romance in the house.
Oh my gosh.
I've got the full-on giggles. I am in studio.
What is
Boom.
this? What are you drinking? Is there some
you
caffeine or
can't
something
say
in this
that.
that's making you giggle or
I
what?
don't know.
Sugar.
This is a bad start for
Dry sparkling vanilla.
no pants, Lance.
Okay.
All right. And to his right, Evan Price.
So I was going to switch up the how's it going, and I was going to say, what are we drinking today, boys?
sorry.
But Matt just stole my thunder. So
What
now
you
I have,
sipping?
I have no
What you
intro
sipping?
now.
What you sipping?
For the
That's-
record, I'm going to use that next time. Okay. So nobody better do that.
Sorry, blew it.
All right, Matt, go ahead.
What's up, people of the internet? How are you guys doing?
Hold on.
Whoa.
Is that how it's-
Rewind.
Do that again.
And to his right, Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing?
Pretty
Very good.
Pretty
Bad.
good. Yeah,
Not
pretty
too
good.
bad.
little giggly.
We cannot screw that one up.
That's true.
A little bubbly today.
That's too good. All right, let's jump into things. Backpedal for us, Evan Price, as you're taking a drink of your
Perfect timing.
little, was that vanilla
Clear in the
sparkling?
throat. Dry sparkling from New Seasons. Yeah, it's really
Oh,
good
okay.
stuff.
Yeah,
I like it. Vanilla flavored.
very good. Backpedal for us, bud. How's your week?
Well, you know, there was some forward pedaling, and then there was some stopping, and then there was some sliding, and then no back pedaling. But so we had, as I'm sure everybody's going to talk about, we had the Jack Frost time trial on Sunday this last weekend. Great weather. Well, okay, mostly great. It was cold in the morning, but warmed up by the time we all started. Everybody had a good race, except for me, which is okay. But went pretty hard out the first half and was feeling great. There's a turnaround.
Were you on your time trial bike?
Yeah, I was on the time trial bike with no aero gear. I didn't have, I don't have my race wheels
Got
yet
it.
all
Yeah.
set and ready to go. So it was time trial bike, no aero gear, but just wanted to get a good hard effort in.
Did you see your split? Your half split?
Yeah, I did get it down.
What-
16:30.
16:30?
Yeah.
It's hard to
So
know with it.
my legs felt great coming into the turnaround. Just prior to the turnaround, legs felt great. But there was that gravel patch, maybe like good 200-300 meters maybe away from the turnaround.
After the turnaround?
Before the
Before
turn.
it.
Well, technically before and after the turnaround, yeah. But I hit it before the turnaround, obviously. And as we're coming into the turnaround, my front starts feeling a little soft.
Uh-oh.
And hindsight being 2020, in that 5-second split, I should have said, all right, just pull over to the side here. Yeah. I decided to think maybe that's because I just hit gravel, should be fine. Dipped the front end down, immediately slid out going into the turn. So
Did you flat?
yeah,
Your front wheel flatted.
Yes.
Then you took the hard corner and you just went
slid
down.
straight out.
Evan,
I have the
Vancouver Lake is cursed for
It
you.
is. You know, I
Every
think
time
it's
you go
just
out
got to be user error at this point. I've got to just be like finding sharp objects and just running directly over
Why
them.
don't we get you some gator skins for your next?
There
time-
you go.
Well,
time
they
race?
were Continentals. They're great tires.
Which ones are they?
Clearly
The 4000s?
not.
4000s. Yeah.
Yeah,
are
but
good
were they from
tires.
10
Yeah.
years ago, Evan?
No, this one was actually much newer because I just put it on
All right.
this year. It's only 6 months old,
Are they
maybe.
f- but you,
Yeah.
but you're doing like 100 miles on the trainer, so
Yeah.
I'm sure those Contis are just getting spun. To,
That's right.
Well,
you
no,
can
but
see the tube, right?
it was the front. It was the front though. So yeah. I don't know. I've got no excuses. I'm just gonna write it down to user error somehow with this
Yeah,
flat. But
that's tough.
So you crashed on the time trial.
yes. Got a nice shiner on my hip and elbow. I'm fine. Nothing like too bad outside. Just
I'm
being
sure you still like ran afterwards or
Oh,
swam.
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
And then as soon as I got home, I kind of had to make a decision. I was like, all right, do we go and ride hard? I'm not sure how sore I am. So I jumped on my road bike and went and hammered the Vancouver hustle
Okay.
loop a couple times and then went and did hill repeats. Out of-
Attaboy.
I'll tell you what, I really like training angry. I train angry very, very well. So I just need,
After the bike ride, you did a little run with me, and it was easy. You
Yeah.
chilled out, which was nice.
yeah.
I thought he
Matt
was gonna.
was-
I was like, he'll run with me for a minute or two, but that
Matt was my nice little like yoga, session right afterwards. He was
calming.
Very
calming
calming,
words.
yeah.
Calming words.
I wasn't too frustrated with it though after. I'm not,
Good for you.
I was just happy that like there were some people who went really strong that I was happy to see. One, obviously, now Jake will talk about his race. I was still incredibly impressed with Jake Numbers, regardless of what he's going to say about his own race. I was very happy to see Matt out there just
I did.
racing again.
I rode the bike. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was happy to see Scott Macbeth put an awesome time down out there.
He's a
Yeah,
beast.
he did.
Yeah,
He,
he
was
put a
slower than last year.
Yeah.
He's just fast.
he is.
His
He is.
times are just fast. Yeah.
Guy came from track cycling too, so I think that's where he's just
Did
got
he?
great power on the bike. Yeah, but some other really really good times out there in the Eddie class too. A lot of dialed guys killing the Eddie class.
Yeah, Chris Hannell.
Yeah. Chris had a
did
great
great.
one.
Chris Hannah, I was impressed.
Chris
with
Surratt
his-
had a great race too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He blew up Cat 3s. Yeah.
Yeah. There were some guys really killing it out there. Sean Martin had another good effort out there, which was good. Sean Martin does really well at Vancouver Lake.
Alan
know
Plank had a
Yeah.
great race.
Yeah, Alan had an
How
awesome
about
race.
Sean Martin's son, Nels?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He went faster than
Yeah.
his dad.
Uh-oh.
I know.
Beat
I know.
his dad.
Well, okay, so there were arrow bars and things.
Yeah,
but still,
that's awesome for Nels.
Nels.
Nels is a little
Nels
guy,
awesome.
and that
Yeah.
is not a little guy's course.
No.
That's big quad course right there, and
Yeah.
Nels is a little guy, so that's awesome.
Nels is a climber for
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
but
He,
you know,
Fantastic.
he's into it.
It's just scaring us old people.
I mean, we did slap some arrow bars on his bike, or he
Yeah.
did, and then
Yeah.
loaned him an arrow helmet and got him a skin suit that he could wear as well. And he's been training on the trainer on the arrow bars to get acclimated to the position. So he's done the work, and he went out and he crushed it.
Yeah.
It was freaking awesome.
We got a little all rounder developing
Is he
there.
15?
15 years old, yeah.
That's awesome. He
We
did great.
definitely have a good all rounder there.
He won
developing.
his
yeah.
14, 15 age group or
Yeah,
something.
he's
The
race age
15, 16
by a
age
couple
group.
minutes or something.
Yeah.
He crushed
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cassie raced.
Yeah, she did. Yep, beat her time from last year too.
How
That's
about
awesome.
that? That is
Yep.
fantastic.
She was able to hold the arrow position for
36 or
basically the
something.
whole thing. Yeah, 36 and change, I think.
It's fast.
Yeah, and she was able to hold the arrow position the whole time, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tiger Westerfield had a great run.
Yeah.
He almost cracked 30 minutes.
He almost cracked 30 minutes. 30 minutes and 7 seconds.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, you beat me by 1 second. That's awesome.
Oh, boy.
Do you know how deep they score? Because I know they have like
I
a
thought it was
crate-
15.
Okay,
15.
15?
Yeah, 15th place gets 1 point.
Okay, gotcha.
So, if you want me to elaborate on that real quick, the team this year, we took out I want to say it was about 15 less people than we did last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
And last
it
year
did
we
seem like we had
last year
less.
last year we had a great showing. We had a lot of numbers out there, and a lot of people competing, and a lot of people coming out and doing it for the first time. This year we had 15 less, and we managed to score 108 more team points
Yeah.
last
That's
year.
awesome. I was wondering if we beat that.
So last year we put up, I think it was 172, and then this year we scored 272. And this year it was 380 total points.
Okay, now I feel really bad.
That blew my mind. That
But
was
not
incredible.
you, Evan, or me.
Me
I
and
still-
Lance contributed this
Nothing.
many points.
Same amount. No, I still think that I would like to see more people come out for Dialed. Like, granted, like
Sure.
if you don't score points, don't care. Like, it was just nice. I remember last year just seeing people like come out and be like, "This is my first bike race." Like, just interesting, different people that don't usually do time trials or bike races and stuff like that. We definitely need, and I think we can do that. I think we can get more people. We just need to talk about it more prior to the race. I think we
Yeah.
were kind of rushed because we had our team camp, we had a lot of stuff going on, and then all of a sudden it was like Jack Frost time trials here.
Yeah.
So we can promote it a little bit more, and I think we can get more people out there.
We've got a couple good road races coming up where it's not you against the clock, and you're not like insulated from other riders really per se. But you can go out and try some of these other flat road races and still have a great time and be introduced into road racing for the first time. So we will definitely be hitting those up some more. But
Yeah.
cool. Lance, you want to backpedal for us?
I had a bit of a recovery week.
Yeah,
Much
cover week number
needed.
2.
Yeah, I
You
did
and I are in the
almost.
same boat,
I did
yeah.
almost nothing last week. Actually, that's not true. I watched about 20 hours of Netflix.
Ooh, what are you watching?
You still rode like 10 hours though, didn't you?
I don't think so. I think I only rode twice the whole week.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me check your Strava because I don't believe you.
If you haven't seen the Umbrella Academy
it good?
Is it
on
worth it?
Netflix, it was hilarious and very good. And yeah, I totally binge watched that one day, like 10 hours straight.
Good for
Yeah.
you, man.
So I did
for you.
nothing. I ate all the candy in the house.
Good.
I listened to way too much Nickelback and Taylor Swift.
Nickelback.
Yeah, wasn't it like one of the
I
first?
was 100% with you in this process until you.
Was this like? Is this a reference back to like the first podcast?
That's right. I think
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
made
Okay,
some
good.
Taylor Swift comment.
Yes.
Yeah, I really did almost nothing this week. I really took it easy. I was really bummed not to be able to make it to the time trial. I really wanted to do it, but I just had too many commitments, and I ultimately decided not to sign up for it so that I wouldn't be tempted to skip all my commitments. And I actually ended up at a funeral that day, which was not funny. I lost a friend, a youth that I used to be his youth leader for. He was a Marine, and he had
sorry.
some PTSD stuff. And
Oh, man.
yeah, it was a rough go. His name was Seth Witherup, great kid who grew up here in this area. So I think I ended up in the right place, that I ended up
Yeah,
at the
absolutely.
funeral and supporting the family
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
that. But it was a bummer to miss the race, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
There
So-
will be plenty more for
Yeah, I
you.
think
Yeah,
there might be a
sure.
few more on the calendar.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think missing the prologue
If you
is going
want
to be
to,
too big
Lance,
of a deal.
you and I can just go out there and go toe to toe.
Let's do it. That would be
Good
fun.
I was actually thinking about
Sprint. You can sprint
Yeah.
next to me.
Lance. We need to conquer this together. Mostly, I just need to not flat. You need to get out there, and we can do it together.
Try riding out there without flatting. That'd
Yes.
be weird.
I know.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed my week of doing hardly anything. So
Good.
that was me.
Matt Legrand, what you sipping?
Uh,
Everybody can't do this. No, this is only.
Dry sparkling vanilla. Fantastic. I also had kind of a down week. It was just like one of those weeks where I had to watch a lot of kids and things like that. Like, everyone's healthy, and for the most part, like, just didn't get a lot of training in. Which, then towards the latter part of the week, I was like, okay, well, like, I don't want to put a ton of miles in right before my big race, which, I know a lot of us weren't taking that race super seriously, but I mean, we all still wanted to do well.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we all gave it like a
There
big
were so
effort.
many bets on that race. How could you not take it
Oh,
seriously?
yeah.
My
Yeah.
God.
So-
Everybody was laying
So I
out.
think I ended up with 3 bets or so. And I lost all 3 of them. Alan Plank, I owe a beer, and then Sean Henry, I owe. We were, going back between a coffee and a beer, and he was like, "I don't drink coffee," and I was like, "All right, I guess it's a beer then." And Mr. Jake Von During, we had a bet, and it was you without aero gear, me full aero gear, and I think you beat me by a minute, basically. Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Something like that.
I think
Which is about what you did last year. About a minute faster than me last year. So I brought drinks for everyone, and then Evan.
I wasn't
brought
sure if
drinks.
I was in bets, but I knew whatever I wasn't, I lost.
Yeah.
So I needed to bring
Evan,
sparkling
and then
water.
there,
Evan
yeah.
brought drinks for everyone. So we are fully stocked.
Yeah.
So yeah, decent week, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did you put any videos together this past week?
Yes, I put out a video called, I think it was like swimming for new. I don't remember what I titled it. Like kind of swim tips for new swimmers, for something like that, kind of geared towards triathletes and things like that. It's pretty basic stuff, and it's probably stuff that I actually mentioned on this podcast quite a while ago. Kind of like, you need to swim regularly, you need to work on your breathing. Like, here's a sample workout, and the workout ends up being like 1,000 meters. It's not an intense workout. So if you are new to swimming or whatever, or you're kind of trying to get into swimming, that one might be a good
What was
one
the
to
set?
check out.
What was the set again? I've seen the video.
The set is it's like 200 warm up, and even on the warm up, I'm like, stop as much as you want, like just get through, and then it's kind of 6 by 100, but you're alternating pull swim. Yeah, so that way, and it's not a bad workout. And then I briefly mentioned you could try to, leave on a send off of like 3 minutes, or whatever, if you're new to swimming. But if you're not, you don't have to stress about that. And then there's the kind of question like, okay, well, what is a send off time? Like, what is that? And so I reference people to another video that's kind of where I talk about like, what does a coach mean when he talks about, descending sets or like a leave interval or all these little things. Like, pool terminology is weird, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like, it's not as bad as bike terminology, but it's got its own lingo for sure.
does.
Yep.
Fun.
Swimmers.
Good stuff.
My week, real quick. I had a light training week as well, but that was by design. That's kind of what I needed, and I set myself up for this weekend just to try and have the best result I could possibly get. Leading into that, though, I still have too many medical appointments on my calendar every week. It's killing me. It's taking up so much time. I mean, I love going in and seeing Evan, but I mean, that whole process for me, it's almost 2 hours out of my day to go in and just see Evan for a bout of physical therapy. And this, I've since come back into starting to do acupuncture again, and then I had to go see another doctor regarding my ankle from when I got hit by the car, because I'm having some issues there still. And now I've got to go in for an MRI this week and back in to see him the following week, and just all kinds of stupid stuff. But I need those to be off my calendar because there's too many cool things going on, and I need more of that time to be dedicated to work and training and family stuff. But this week was awesome. It was an incredible week, and it wasn't just because of yesterday. On Saturday, we got to finish. It was like the pinnacle part of our Bikes for Kids campaign, where we raised a bunch of money. We went out and bought a bunch of Cannondale bikes and a bunch of Giro helmets for the kids and bike locks, and we were able to go over to Gresham and deliver the bikes to the kids over there at the Salvation Army's community center, if you will. And it was incredible. It was so fun sitting there and being able to call the kids up one by one to claim their bikes. And we had a teammate that was pretty much assigned to every bike and every kid. So you call their name and they kind of pop up out of the audience, and they're like trying to keep the straight face, and they're like almost like biting their lip. They wanted to smile. They wanted to like explode. And I looked at them like, no, let it go, man. Smile. And then like they just got this big beaming smile, and they get to go over and grab their new bike and their helmet, and teammate walked them out. We got all the kids set up with their bikes. And once all the kids were out there, they were all riding around and riding, in circles, and miraculously nobody crashed, and everybody's bike got set up to them, and it all seemed to be just like perfect. There was nothing that was wrong with the day. It was just fantastic.
It was a really cool event. I ended up getting a 11-year-old boy who did not know how to ride a bike, had never ridden a bike before.
That's
11. Cool. So, I got to spend 20 minutes with him just trying to help him learn how to stride on the bike and to keep his balance. And he was just like beaming. He was like so happy to get this bike and to try to finally learn how to ride his bike. And his grandma was there with him and was super excited. So it was a really cool day to be a part of that.
It was.
Thank you, Jake, for putting that together.
Yeah, and it was cool too because they put out a press release for this, and so the local news showed up, and we were on the news.
Yeah, you
and
said
people,
Fox 12 had it on.
Yeah.
So I was getting messages from people like, "Hey, I saw you guys on the news. And what you did, that's so awesome. And was that from that ugly Christmas sweater ride that you guys did?" And that money, I'm like, "Yeah, come on out and join us this next year." So I think that this coming year,
A
Christmas
lot
time when
of
we do
people
this.
out for that.
I think
Yeah.
that event's going to really blow up, and we've got like sponsors who are telling me now that they want to be more a part of that, and they're wanting to make financial contributions to it. Plus, now that we're a nonprofit entity with our cycling team, when it comes to that fundraising week, there's like the likes of I think it's Facebook, they will match your donations up to a certain
Yeah.
amount. So
Oh, that's cool.
my God, the amount of money that we're going to be able to raise to put more kids on bikes this next year is going to be fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Hopefully
So
there can be some other, maybe even like Portland teams that come up for it.
that'd be
some of
that'd
the
be
bigger
great.
teams,
I would have. It's not an us thing. It's not a dial
No,
thing.
yeah.
This isn't this is about getting more kids on bikes,
Yeah.
and if we can help out the kids that are underprivileged, let's do it. So
I got some direct messages through Instagram from people who said,
you really?
"Yeah, hey, I saw your team and you guys on the news. How cool that you guys
Yeah.
did something like that for the community." So that
Yeah.
was
And
That was cool.
To all the other teams out there, you guys can do this kind of stuff too. It
Yeah.
doesn't take anything special. You just have to have a little bit of time set aside and a little bit of willpower and a little bit of desire to raise some money and help kids out. And it doesn't have to be just bikes. There's a myriad of things that you can get kids hooked up with just to get them out there moving and grooving. So
Yeah.
fast forward to yesterday. That was a fun day. Arrived at Vancouver Lake for the Jack Frost time trial. It was 20.
What time did you get there?
Yeah. I was gonna say it was 31 when I got there, and I got there an hour after you. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
cold.
I got there at 8 o'clock on the button.
That's how I was
so,
there, yeah.
So yeah, we were setting up things. My hands were pretty chilly, but we got set up, and we still had a great showing. Yes, we had less people out there for whatever reason, different commitments of time and whatnot.
Springing
Plus,
forward.
we lost an hour the night before, and it was cold. And last year we had so many people out there. I think just because it was damn near 60 degrees, which
it
Oh,
was
was
nice.
that warm last year?
yes, it was.
It was
such a-
not 60 degrees this time.
No, it was bright sunny
Yeah.
skies, but I think
I was
that-
fine with the temperature.
yeah, I
actually.
think it
thought
got
was
up to
great.
like 43 yesterday,
Yeah.
so it was chilly, but it was still fun times, and everybody that raced did extremely well once the results finally posted. God, it took them a day to get those posted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was scrolling through there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how well everybody did. We won
Yeah.
so many categories.
It's a lot
and
of
had
dialed at the top.
a lot of
those.
podium
Yeah.
or top tens, and it was just fantastic. And like I said earlier, the amount of team points that we scored blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. We got off to a fantastic start last year.
Yeah.
We blew that out of the water this year with less people.
How many podiums did we have?
I don't know. We'll have to fact check that as
yeah,
we go
we'll
through
fact
the
check.
podcast here.
I think it was around 10. I'm gonna guess 10.
So,
Lance on it.
and I was happy with my time. I had expectations of, all right, just try and finish in the top 10. Do your best to finish in the top 10, and if that doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. Just be happy that you're out there riding and racing a bicycle. Because if you had told me 9 months ago that I'd be out racing the Jack Frost, I might be looking at you like, I don't know, man. There's a lot to heal from here. So yeah, I was able to go out, and I somehow had a PR out there.
That was my big question for you.
That
I
was-
like,
I
how
knew
does
it
your
was
time
close.
compared to last year.
Yeah.
It was about 20
that's
22
huge.
seconds faster.
How is that possible?
Think about that.
How
I mean, that's
is that
that's
possible?
like we're
That doesn't
talking.
make any sense.
We're talking about what he's gone through medically in the last 9 months. And to think he comes out and puts out more power than last year when he
Just-
had a healthy build through the whole offseason is
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Well,
crazy.
With respect to the power, I'm not sure if I actually put out more power.
Were you slippery?
No, I'm a knucklehead. I forgot to calibrate my power meter, and I haven't calibrated it since the middle of training camp, which what was that 2.5 weeks ago. I've been on the Wahoo Kicker riding indoors mostly, and I'm so out of the routine. And while we're out at Jack Frost, I want to help everybody because I want everybody to do well. So I find myself, I'm setting people up on bikes, I'm fixing
Pinning numbers.
Yeah, pinning numbers. I'm fixing drivetrains. I'm cleaning stuff for people and making sure everybody's day is kind of nice, that they can flow through and do well. And then got to myself, and I barely got myself put together and out there warmed up to do the race. And like it was probably 30 seconds after I started, I'm like, I forgot to calibrate my power meter. Gosh darn it! And so
Here we go, RP.
and I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, well, I'm just going to treat them as they are, and if I go a little bit faster or slower or whatever, that's going to be what's going to tell me where I'm at, and I'll just try and gauge it accordingly. So I think they might be a touch low, but they were still good numbers, and it was better than what I was expecting for this year. So finished. Drum roll, please. Second place for the fourth
Second
year.
place
Way to
for the
kill my own
fourth
thunder
year.
there. Yeah, second place 4 years in a row. What are the odds of that? I mean,
Yeah.
I can understand them being good if there was like 2 people out there.
Yeah.
And I'm just the first loser every year. But
It just shows me that the top
this
2
was a
guys.
field of 50.
you field of 50, and that's usually pretty close to what it is, somewhere between 35 and 50 people, like 35 on the skinny year. And this past year was pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Second place, 4
Yeah,
years in a row.
You shouldn't have finished second. You should have finished like 22nd. You took like 9 months off the bike. I mean,
Yeah.
you went through the ringer this year. You have no business biking that fast.
I don't know. Well, I listened to this podcast last week that talked about time trialing and like tips
was
and
the
tricks and how to get more aerodynamic. And it was a great podcast. And I kind of borrowed some of those little techniques and like this whole like little turtling thing, staying low and
turtle.
where to point my hands. I did not touch the drops the whole time I was out there. I kept my hands on the top crossbar and I
Bent over arrow.
bent over arrow,
Turtled up a little bit.
turtled up a lot, as
Shored
much
up
as I
the
could.
shoulders, kept the shoulders nice and
Exactly.
tight.
It tried to stay small.
How was your shoulder? Did that position feel okay?
It was okay. It was a little tired at the end, and it was not sore, but it was fatigued last night. But it was my triceps that were really feeling that, and like your triceps and a little bit in the low back area for just supporting yourself through that. But I tried different positions. I tried to like kind of just rest my forearms more on there as opposed to just the wrist, and let the hands dangle over just a little bit. And I found that the power numbers would come down just a touch there if I tried that, or I kind of dabbled just a little bit with a couple other things, and I felt that I was producing the best watts and I was getting the best average speed in getting into that position. And I'm going to stick with that because I think that really does pay dividends. There was just less surface area. And was it the CDA for my body?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Was
Coefficient of
huge,
drag.
yeah.
Drag coefficient.
So anyway, it was a fun day and it was fun racing out there with you guys.
Yeah.
Lance, we missed you.
Dowd Cycling had 16 podiums.
Oh my goodness.
And 3 team members that just missed the podium in 4th or 5th place, including our own Matt Legrand.
Just
Just
missed it.
missed the
Way to go,
podium.
Matt. Wait a minute. You could have just picked up the pace a little bit, right?
So it was a good day out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So looking forward to the next couple races coming up. I don't know if I'm going to race yet. I have a couple things up my sleeve. I'm not quite sure which one's going to pan out yet, and I will let you know. But I'm looking forward to watching you guys at a minimum get out there and race your bicycle. So let's get started on our topic today. We have this little thing that we came up with. Our top 10 reasons to compete, and that could be competing in road racing or cycling or triathlon. So we came up with this list, and we're going to talk about why we think it's a good idea. And I think the timing is perfect because we are right at the beginning of a lot of everybody's race seasons, whether it be triathlon or cycling. So let's start off with number 10. Number 10, and Lance is going to have something to add to this, I have a feeling. We're going to go out there and we're going to make some solid/great memories for us. And memories will last, but what was this?
What lasts longer
what
than
lasts longer?
memories, Lance?
That more than memories.
What lasts longer than memories?
It makes a clinging noise.
Cling, cling, cling.
I can't remember.
God
what
damn it.
I
Oh,
said.
you were supposed to hit the punchline. We were talking about race medals lasting more than memories.
That's so much
Wait.
better that he didn't remember it. That's so
Got
much
it
better.
already.
We set it up.
We do
set it up
races
too much.
for race medals. That's why we're out there. That's why you go compete for the race medal.
We already on a previous podcast had a very nice assessment from one of Lance's friends as to why race medals are very important.
That was
And I think we all had a change of heart on here as a group. So yes.
their necessity.
What lasts longer than memories? Metal.
Medals. I blew it already.
Yeah, my setup wasn't all that great either. So
Unless it's one of those wood ones. Have you seen the wood
Yeah,
race
they're
medals?
nice.
I have a feeling that my memory's going to last longer than that one will.
I prefer those.
Yeah.
They're nice.
So I've got, well, I have a high affinity for like photography, and I love photographs. And for me, it's something special. And Matt's kind of in the same boat, and so is Lance and Evan.
Doesn't know how to use his phone.
Get off my lawn with your technologies. So I use this little app, and some of you guys might use it. Some of you might think it's dumb, but for me, I think it's kind of a cool thing. It's called Time Hop, and every morning I get up, and that's like one of the first apps I'll check, and it'll show me all of my pictures that I have on my phone in the camera roll. It'll show any picture that I've ever posted to social media, and it'll tell me how many years ago that was. And this time of year, it's fun because you wake up and you start looking at stuff, and you're looking at all the pictures that you took from past races, and that really jogs my memory. It takes me back to that time, that day, and it keeps me pumped and excited and motivated to want to go back out and race. And seeing pictures of your friends and seeing how everybody's kind of progressed over time. And it also, for me, it's kind of a special thing too, because this morning it was actually the pictures from Jack Frost last year, and scrolling through there, got to see some pictures of our friend Michael Myers. And like most of you know, or if you don't know, we lost him in a tragic bicycle accident back in November of 2018. So it's one of those things that just kind of warmed my heart a little bit to see the pictures of him. And he was actually somebody that I thought about several times while I was out on the course last year. I was just like, what would Michael do? I mean, that's kind of like the running joke, you're hurt, and what would Michael do? And he was such a beast and a competitor.
He would push the pedal harder, I think, is what he would do.
I think he went 28 low or 28.30. I can't remember exactly.
28 low, I think it was.
Pretty, it was pretty fast.
That's really fast. So it's just seeing those pictures of him this morning was great, and those are memories that I wouldn't have had if I wasn't a part of a team, if I wasn't out racing my bicycle. And these are some of the best memories that I'll have in my life, and it's just kind of neat to be able to make those with you guys. So anything that you guys want to add to making lasting memories?
That I like. So Facebook does a similar thing where they kind of post up some of your previous memories.
Yeah.
I know, it is interesting for me because each time I come around to April time period, as I get closer to April, I had this race that I used to love going to, Grand Rapids Half Ironman, which is also the Clydesdale and Athena National Championship. And that one for me really did hold some pretty special
You want to go
memories.
back sometime? I'll go back with you.
I would. So there's actually an Ironman race there now too.
The
Grand
Millennial
Rapids.
Man or something. I can't remember. What it's called.
something like that.
We'll do it.
Yeah,
Think
it's an awesome
Iron
race.
distance.
A lot of fast guys out of that region too. So
Yeah.
Very, very cool race.
Good stuff. All right, moving.
Michael Myers went 27:49 last year.
Oh yeah, let's not jip him
he was
that.
probably
Sub
the,
28.
he was probably the fastest from our group.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know. Was Scott Macbeth?
Scott Macbeth was, I think, a touch slower.
He was 28 low, I think. Again, I think Scott this year was almost
he
the same
faster
time as
last year.
Was he?
I think Scott had the fastest time
Did
last
he really?
year.
Oh my gosh!
Can you check his time real quick?
He
While I have a
did
second?
4.5s. What did he race?
He races 4.5s, which he probably shouldn't.
He
at that
doesn't.
pace.
Well, he
Right,
races
see him.
triathlon and doesn't
But
do road racing.
He
so,
can't get upgraded. The only other
No,
thing he
yeah.
could do was just race in the Masters, but
Yeah.
he'd have to race more road or time trials to
get-
get that upgrade. So
Yeah.
he's racing right where he's at. But the overall, if you go to the overall standings, it'll show kind of where he stacked up. But
27:53.
Oh,
Michael beat him by 4 seconds.
okay,
those two. Tell you what, put a team time trial together of those two
Oh my gosh.
plus anybody else. You're going to be
Yeah.
flying.
A couple people that just want to hang on.
Yeah, a couple people that just cycle in the back and that's it.
I actually petitioned the guys over 7.5 and asked them like, "Hey, can you do a team trial out there at the Jack Frost?" And he says that it's possible, but they said that they can't do it the same day; that it's already too full of a day.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense. When you think about like when the setup and the
Yeah.
breakdown, and then having the officials out there and having to pay everything.
And then they
Yeah.
have to adjust the
Yeah.
course too because the rumble strips would make a really kind of hazardous team time trial start.
You think so?
Yeah. Well,
Part
I
of the
just,
strategy.
I
Part
mean,
of the
like,
strategy.
we'd be fine with it, but I think if you got some people, like,
Yeah.
you'd have to have somebody holding the front there for a while, as long as they'd be okay with just taking
Yeah.
away the cones and having people go over the like, I'm fine with going over the rumble strips, but I know,
that's a good point. That's a very good point.
because it would get real skinny on the side there.
You know what they could do though is they could move the starting house up and just bypass the rumble strips altogether and just push the finish.
Push the finish out.
They've got the room to do it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's neither here nor there. So tangent. Sorry about that. Let's jump into number 9. You get to travel.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think that's a good one. It's a lot of, I mean, probably my favorite races are when I'm not traveling because I feel like they're less stressful. You can just wake up, in your own bed and go do stuff. But, I know a lot of people that, they do these race destinations and that's huge. You get to see a different part of the country, a different part of the world. A lot of times races even are set up in that with that, mentality in mind where it's like, this is a race on the beach in Southern California.
Yeah.
Because we know people will come.
Yeah.
Lance, I mean, you raced on the Great Wall of China. It was a marathon, but yeah, that's.
did.
I mean, that race is clearly not put together to PR. That's a
That-
destination
and
race.
I never would have. I wouldn't have even experience that part of the world
Yeah.
without that option of
Or that much of the
race.
wall.
Yes, or that much of the wall.
Yeah.
Because I was there for an MBA. I was there for my Master's in Business
Mm-hmm.
Association. We were there for a week-long training, like outside schooling, like an experience somewhere else. And I just happened to squeeze in this Great Wall race. But we actually, the Great Wall Marathon was on a section of the wall that the tourists don't normally go to. It's a lot further away from the city. So that
cool.
That made it really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the coolest place you've been to, Evan?
Ooh, for a race.
Yep.
Here's my honest opinion. I loved the Santa Cruz race. Santa Cruz 70, and so the cool thing about it for me was my girlfriend Cassie. I got to see like where she grew up during that.
Oh,
she didn't grow up in Santa Cruz, but she grew up in Los Gatos, which is very close to there. So she got to take me to her favorite bakery. The place where we actually ran is like right along the water. It's like this trail system right along this like cliff that overlooks the ocean. If your heart rate wasn't at 185 the entire race, you'd really be able to enjoy a pretty incredible view. But that's where she ran all the time when she was growing up, and just her family was always around there. And it's just a beautiful course, just an absolutely beautiful course. Lots of sea lions too, because you got to swim around the pier, which just makes it that much better experience. But yeah, that to me is, if I'm looking at the races I've done, I mean, Chattanooga half Ironman is a beautiful course too, but Santa Cruz, there's something about riding your bicycle. Cool. Yeah, riding your bicycle next to the ocean, as you guys know, having just done that, there's something special about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Matt?
I really definitely think about like the opportunities of getting to travel and things like that, just because I was a kid from Alabama that got to travel when a lot of people don't get to travel or whatever it is, and it was going to travel to all these races growing up, right? Like, and I think it's good because it kind of opens your mind a little bit, where you're like, I don't have to live in Alabama the rest of my life. I can go move wherever. Like, I kind of liked this other place that I traveled to. And so I definitely credit traveling for races to kind of definitely getting to see a good bit more of the country, although a lot of it was like you're just going to see the track, or you're just going to see some golf course that you're going to do cross country on. But you still you go through the airports and stuff.
You got to meet a lot of. I mean, you got to meet people
Yeah.
from other countries, other cultures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's super eye opening too, right? Where you're like, you're going to train day in and day out with 5 Kenyans, right? And if you think you're poor, you have no idea. The poorest people in the United States have no idea. Like, they just don't get it. And so it's super good perspective for someone that's 19, 20 years old, right? Like, just a great opportunity for me to, have done some traveling. One of the prettiest places I feel like that I've raced is actually probably Whistler, Canada, which we're going back to.
It's beautiful there.
It's. I'm not a big skier. I know that our listeners are probably gonna be like, "Yeah, no, skiing's the best. You're stupid, Matt." But I'm not a huge skier. But so I probably wouldn't just go to Whistler for no reason. And I've gone there twice for Ironman Canada, this Ironman Canada race, and then the plan is to go back, hopefully, if I can stay healthy and keep it up.
Absolutely.
Yep. And so
The mountain biking there is world class.
yeah, absolutely. And I don't mountain bike.
Yeah.
Not yet.
He
But
has
maybe
a
I'll
skier,
just-
mountain bike, the two things that city is known for, that area is known for.
I could videotape you mountain biking.
There we go.
Bring the van.
You want
up,
to come
dude.
up? I'm going up for a training camp. You can come
you
up.
should.
Yeah, seriously.
And but yeah, that place, it was just like super family friendly. The Whistler Village is just neat, and and then you're swimming in beautiful lakes and biking up mountains, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's my top pick. What
Right
you
on.
got?
I don't have any places that I can tell you that I've truly like traveled like long distances for. I don't know why. I'm just kind of like a homebody when it comes to like racing and whatnot. But here in the Pacific Northwest, I mean, it's not uncommon for us to get in the car and travel for a few hours, drive somewhere. And my God, there are some spectacular places here to race your bicycle.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of like destination ride stuff, like riding in Hawaii or going to, fill in the blank state. But I just haven't done any racing. So I think I need to put that on my radar to go try a race somewhere else and just show up and be the only person and just see how that unfolds. Nobody knows you and you don't know anybody, and just play that cat and mouse game. But,
I mean, even when you're like, it's just different when you're like, even when we went up to Seattle to bike back to Portland, Seattle to
Correct.
Portland,
Yeah.
it's still kind of like you gotta gear up and travel with bikes and all that stuff. There's that bit of a hassle to it.
Yeah.
I mean, we took that pretty seriously. We were
Yeah, we getting there and making sure everything goes back together correctly, and it's I don't know.
Always so, like your wetsuit's gonna rip. You're
Yeah.
gonna forget
Yeah.
something. You're gonna have a flattened transition. Always something's gonna happen, and there is kind of a camaraderie. It's like in cycling with crashing.
Yeah.
There's like a camaraderie around crashing. Triathletes are terrified of crashing. I'm glad I came from cycling because I'm not scared of crashing anymore. Like I've seen, obviously there are terrible crashes that can happen, but it happens so frequently in cycling
Yeah.
that there is kind of this camaraderie around it. While triathletes are terrified of that idea, in triathlon, I feel like cyclists are usually a type A personality. So I know
Yeah.
that the stress of that stress out a cyclist. Triathletes, there's more type B triathletes than you would imagine. I know
Really?
it seems like a type A sport. There are type A, and you may agree with me on this, Matt. There are more type B personalities in triathlon than you would think. And I think it's because you get that swimming and running crowd that are so not stressed before race. Like
right.
there's definitely stressed out swimmers I've met before races, but swimmers are a very go with the flow,
Yeah, definitely.
just show up to the pool, throw the goggles on sort of personality. I mean,
Well,
they
and you have
li-
like 10 hours for your race,
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
like, why do I stress out?
you can't
about
be
the
stressed for
first
10
hour?
hours. Yeah.
But the pointing into the field is all type A personalities.
Yes. Well, yeah, mostly. You'll find the rare real type B personality up there, but yeah, you're right. It's usually type A's.
Yeah, I want to travel with you for some races at some point, and I think it'll be okay.
I am very type B with I'm
Yeah,
not
travel.
stressed before races.
But I
I'm
just-
stressed the week before races.
I just think like, especially if it's not like my A race where am going to be totally anxious or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I'll stress out a little bit, but I'm like, if we were to do like an early season half together or something like that,
Yeah.
like Chattanooga or something like that,
Definitely.
I think I could just go into it and be like, I just trying to get to the finish line and like, go as fast as I can go, but not stress about a particular whatever.
Here's a
And that'd be
question
fun.
for you.
Yeah.
What's a race that all four of us sitting at this
Ooh,
table could go
could
do
do
together
Oh, that's a cool one.
that everybody would be cool with going to do?
How about this? I'll throw this out. What if in the future we all did like Dirty Kansas together?
That sounds absolutely excruciating.
It's 200 miles.
I know, but that'd be a lot of fun.
It would be beautiful. It'd be beautiful. Well,
or like
first of all-
Leadville.
First of all, we wouldn't all
we have
get
to
in.
qualify for Leadville.
Yeah,
Well,
to
Dirty
qualify.
Kansas, you have to get it's a lottery, right?
It's a lottery.
It's a
to get in
lottery,
Dirty
okay.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a race that you guys would do? What's a format
realistic
that
race?
What's a
Yeah.
format that you guys would both be like cool with doing?
We
Would you guys
could-
do a
if you-
gravel race, or would you do a
Gravel
road
would
race,
be
or
the
would
one
it have
that
to be
I
a
would
time
lean
trial?
towards.
Or
Gravel race would be fun.
I mean, it'd be awesome if we could all travel to nationals for time trial together. That'd be cool. But I think you have to qualify for nationals, correct?
I believe so. I think
Yeah.
so. I don't know.
Sun Valley, Idaho. Rebecca's Private Idaho.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Lance already knows the
Would
lay
you
of
do
the
that,
land.
Matt?
I do.
Yeah.
You just need a gravel
when
bike.
is it?
It's Labor Day weekend. It's a difficult weekend for families.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to remind me what's the date of that.
It's September,
Yeah.
like the first weekend of September.
We
That's Santa
always
Cruz,
have.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard to get our schedules in line, but
We need to come up with something.
we'll
Though.
keep
That'd
talking
be
about
very
it.
fun.
In the next year or two, we'll do it for sure. I don't think we can do it like this summer.
Do you think Hawaii would have any like winter sort of like gravel mountain bikey sort of races?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So on our live feed for YouTube right now, Scott Troutman just chimed in. He said that there's a 100-mile version for the Dirty Kansas race.
Oh yeah.
Yes, there is. My buddy Kid has done it.
So that's a little bit more reasonable for all of us, I think, to
I
do.
think he did Leadville. My bad.
And
Yeah.
Dirty Kansas, 200 miles, correct?
Yes.
And for those of you who have never done a 200-mile race, that is hard. And then you do it on gravel.
On gravel
You're
or
not
mud.
You're
It's
not
not a
quite
normal
going as
200 mile.
fast.
It's not like
No.
what we did.
It's self-supported too.
Is it really? Wow.
100 miles gravel sounds like enough
What's
to
the
me.
what's
That's
the
plenty.
elevation gate on that?
It's
pretty flat out there,
It's
though.
pretty flat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still though,
But windy.
Not a lot of
Windy
mountains in
and-
Kansas.
yeah.
Let me look that up.
those chattering gravel trails for 200 miles, man.
No,
That's
I feel like I remember people talking about it and saying there was a fair amount of elevation gain. Yeah, check it out and see. It's a
Well,
Google
if you're
search away.
heading west, you're basically heading towards the mountain. So I'm sure it's like a nice steady grade up. But
all right. Let's move on to the next one. Number 8, connecting with like-minded people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I met you, whack jobs.
I suppose we
how I
probably
ended
would
up
be
at this
sitting
table, yeah.
exactly. We wouldn't be sitting here right now if that weren't the case. So, and God, I think we have a team to be a testament to this as well. I
Yeah.
mean, talk about something that just was like a flame to a bunch of moths. Like we just all kind of like flocked to this thing, and we're like, for the most part, we're all of like kind of the same mindset, for lack of a better term, you know, kind of one and the same. You know, we have our different backgrounds and whatnot, but the fact that we can all gravitate towards this, and I don't get into this too often, but I mean, everybody can kind of set aside their, you know, their beliefs and their political affiliations
Right.
and all this stuff.
Yep.
That just never comes up, and that's kind of by design, that we say, you know, we just don't get into that. You can, you know, have those opinions, but we're here because we want to. We A, because you're a good person. You know, we only want good chemistry, and B, we want you to be here because you love riding bicycles, and we just all seem to be able to get along fantastically, and we don't have these issues. So what is that saying, that cycling will solve all the world's problems?
Yes, it is.
well, think about just sports in general, though.
Yeah.
I mean, think about really big racial barriers broken, male-female barriers broken. We're
Yeah.
talking, I mean, sports are a big platform for that, and that's competition. Competition brings that around. And
Well, and it's suffering. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily
Yes.
competition with,
Yes.
like when you and I go run together, it's not like we're competing.
no.
But the suffering, I mean, even if we're doing easy runs or whatever, there's just this little bit of camaraderie in the relationships that you forge through. We can call it suffering, you can call it whatever, training effect or whatever, are probably some of the strongest relationships that I've had in my personal history.
Yep.
You know, the people that I were teammates with and things like that, those were my best friends. The people that I trained for a marathon with, a triathlon with, those are the people where you're like, yes, like we might not have the same religious background or whatever. Doesn't matter. We feel super tight because, you know, we went through this together.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty magical thing.
Yeah,
and
I mean, in a day and age where you kind of have the sentiment of like, and that sentiment is feeling that the country's like on the verge of like civil
Yeah,
war.
seriously.
And yet we can bring this completely diverse group of people together. I mean, it could be more diverse, but I mean, you got a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds.
Got a guy from Alabama, a guy from Ohio, a guy from California, and a Mormon. I mean, really, think about that.
Lance, no one
I
knows
mean,
where
no,
you're from.
seriously, think about that. That's four very different people running.
And they all walk into a bar.
No, we all may be white with brown hair, except for Lance, kind of white, but you know,
It's pretty much gray. At this
mostly
point.
gray. But
You know, but you've got this undertone in the country, and you've got all these like people from different walks of life that come together, and we don't have issues, and it's all because of one commonality. That says something. So to have that is pretty magical, and just be able to surround yourself with those people. Know that like if you need something, you can just put it out there, and you've got a bunch of people that are going to come to help you, or that want to go for a bike ride with you, or whatever. It's awesome, and to show up to races and be surrounded with those people. I mean, there's something magical about it. It's good times. So.
And I think Matt tapped on a point that's awesome. Is there is that there's one thing training together, you know, or going on jogs together and everything, but there's something different about working towards a competition together. And I think that does have a primal aspect to it. There really is. There's something very human about that, and that's, you know, Matt brought up.
Very easy just to say, yeah, not today.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't want to go 110 miles with 10K climbing.
That's the other beauty of road racing or crits or circuit races is, especially if you're on a team, you're generally working for one specific rider. You're working as a team for one person. So you know, you might have trained all year, but you give up the chance of personal glory because I'm trying to work for one specific rider that we have identified before the race that we are hoping to get on the podium. Yeah.
And that is actually fun.
That is fun.
It takes pressure off, and to be a cog in a machine
Yes.
that's out there to accomplish a certain goal. That is so much fun, just supporting one person. And I could see if it was the same person over and over and over and over again. Well, granted, we're not getting paid millions of dollars to support Chris Froome.
Yeah.
That's not the case. We're going out there just to have fun. If you're doing it for the same person over and over again, that could be a little problematic at times. But usually you try and find the person that's best suited for a particular course. And being on a diverse team, we've got different people that are good at different things, and sometimes someone's feeling better than somebody else. So we do try and change it up, and that is so much fun to go out there and know that it's not about putting me on the podium. It's about putting our team on the podium. And today we're sporting said person. And you never put that out there, obviously, to the other the competitors.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to play that cat mouse game, and the chess match that's involved in that is just so much fun. It's a blast.
Yep.
So you kind of forget the fact that you're suffering so much. All right, let's move on to our next one. Number 7. It is categorized, meaning that if you're going to go out and do racing and you're new to racing, you're going to go out and you're going to be a novice noob, and you're not going to be racing against the likes of, if it's your first triathlon, you're going to be racing against Evan Price, who just turned pro, and you have no
unless you're
chance.
Evan, and then you're racing against guys who are well out of your league now. So.
But it's nice because it's graded based on your ability level and even age, so that you're going to be racing against people that are pretty close to you, and in that process it allows you to have a fighting chance at finding some glory. So do you guys have thoughts on that one?
I think that, as any sort of, race director, the takeaway is like, maybe take a look at cycling, the way they have things set up and broken into all these different categories, and potentially set up your race to where you may have some additional categories. It doesn't have to be quite as extreme as cycling. But, running and swimming or triathlon or whatever the sport might be, you may want to you might not want to throw all the, athletes in together with the pros and have them, go off together, because, giving people the opportunity to say, like, yes, I won my age group. Yes, I won my, particular category. Those are, big wins for some people. And, then there's that race medal.
Yeah.
Clink, clink.
More medals.
Gotta have that race
More
medal.
memories, more medals, more pictures.
I love the fact that you can go out and compete against people your own age or people with your own experience. That's what's great about.
And it's cool because you get to move up
Yeah.
the rungs. It's something competition should always have layers to it. So there's always a next goal.
Yeah.
There should never be a plateau in goals. And that's the awesome thing about this would be my suggestion to triathlon. I love cycling's model of competition in America, at least, because apparently in other like European countries, there are plenty of road races where it's like the race today is only 1, 2, 3s and everybody starts and goes. It's just like a 110 person race. And that's just, and it's just, that's it.
Huh.
I kind of like how America sets it up to where if you're a 4-5 and this is your 5th or 6th race, you can be at the front of a race, making moves, learning how the dynamics of a race works, and not just be the guy holding on for dear life on the back of the peloton and then getting busted out and having to pedal home with, you and 3 of your closest buddies.
Yeah.
But I would love to see triathlon come up with age groups, great, but I don't think age group is the best way to organize it.
Right.
There are 44-year-old guys out there competing on the national level and making top 10 at the Olympic National Championship. That guy should not be racing with Steve, who's doing his first triathlon.
Right.
And that's how the age group system works.
Yeah.
Steve and this super athlete are competing in the same wave. There should be some categorized system.
Yeah.
There's a
it's hard.
million
That's
waves that
big
they let
ask.
out.
Yeah.
There's got to be some categorization there.
I like how they do. Some races will do like pros,
And elites.
and elites, and that pulls some people out. Like,
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
yeah, and I think it's and you can even year by year be like, this year I feel like I can do elites, and next year maybe not, like might not happen, and then you go back to your age group and like even if you're kind of on the bubble, you can kind of make that pick, like I could win my age group or I could be 9th in the elites. It might be more fun to be 9th in the elites. So you have you have some options, which is good. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Tough call.
I think cycling has organized it very well.
It does have, I think, almost a fault, though. Like when you get into time trialing, in my opinion, I think there are just too many
categories. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you've got a bunch of people going out to do a race, a time trial, and you've got say 200 plus. I think yesterday at the Jack Frost, or this past weekend at Jack Frost, there was 200. I think they said 285 or 287. That's a lot of people. But when you look at the average category size, the categories for the most part weren't huge. So it's I don't know.
So we need to
it's
take
just because
between
there's-
triathlon and cycling is the correct answer. Somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just they shouldn't do age groups. They should just do the normal cycling rules, categories 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, you
And
can
then
do
a
a
master's
masters,
group.
but
Yeah,
what's
just make
the
it one
problem is
masters.
At masters
like-
4, 5, or the same.
Yeah.
Why is there 30 to 39 masters too? Is that really masters? 30 to 39.
No,
They didn't call it Masters. They just called it 30 to 39.
See,
and
they need to chop
40
that.
to 49 and
Yeah,
50 to 59.
They need to
Well,
chop that, and then 40 plus can be Masters.
Some
Yeah.
of the time trials that have been on our calendars in the past, it gets even worse. Like you'll have your Masters 40 to 44, and then you get your Masters 45 to 49.
Yeah, no.
And they do that for every age group, and it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So, just make it the 40s, and if you have a Masters, that's great. And then if you're of certain categorization, you can just go race in your category. So that sometimes can be a I don't know, double-edged sword that kind of gives you troubles and whatnot. Like for
Yeah.
me, it's like, all right, if I've got an option to go race with the Master 40 to 49, and it's like an open category, like, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, or go race in the category 1-2s, which one do I want to go? Do I want to go like get absolutely punished by kids that are half my age?
Yeah.
And
Have a lot
try and
more
keep
time
up
to
with
train
that.
than you.
And
Yeah.
it's actually a longer race too. Or do I want to go race in the 40 49s with my friends, but then get called like, hey, you're supposed to be over there racing with the 1-2s. You're kind of sandbagging over here. You're racing
Yeah.
against guys that are 4 or 5s. What do you do?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sometimes there's just too many
I
options.
just think you do both. I think you find you find race, not like within the same weekend, but like you find races where you're like, yep, I'm going to go suffer. I'm going to go get my butt kicked.
Yeah.
And then you find other races where you're like, I want to ride with Lance. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
This is the problem with being in your 40s and being fast, guys. You guys just should have slowed down.
I tried, man.
Not too many guys in their 40s run into this issue. So.
All right, moving on to the next one. Stress release. And I'm going to put this on Evan because I get stressed before race. So I don't know if I can actually speak to this one being a positive, but maybe the after effect. But
So I'll say there's a buildup of stress to the competition. So I think overall, when we talk about stress, is a word that just gets tossed around a ton these days. Burnout and stress, those two terms.
Yeah.
You could scroll through your Facebook feed. You're going to see 100 random articles put up about stress and burnout. I think so let's compare stress to like endurance, strength, and strength training. I think that there is at times and I hate always ragging on the millennial generation, but I'm going to rag on the millennial generation for a second.
You always rag on the millennial generation.
It's because I've been
hilarious.
reading these burnout articles
you're allowed
from
to.
millennials. We look at previous generations. They had pretty stressful lives, like real stressful lives. We want to look at the World War II generation. And do you, as a millennial, really want to sit there and be like, "Oh my God, my life is so burnout right now"? Be like, you haven't fought in a war.
Snapchat servers are down.
Yeah, you're like that's
Stressing me
pretty
out.
sad. I have like 10 unread emails. Oh my goodness. So when I think it's that our threshold for stress, because things are so easy in life, is so amazingly low. We're scared of being exposed to stress. And when you're scared of being exposed to stress, just like if you want to run a marathon and you never run, the marathon's going to really be hard. So I think if you gradiate it in a healthy way, expose yourself to stress over and over again, and you overcome that stress, I think there's a really healthy benefit to that.
Yeah.
And that's when you see productive people like the people I'm sitting at this table with who are all successful at what they do. So I think that's where you have this stress leading up to the race, and then you go and compete, and it's this release of that stress, and then you come back down.
To speak to that, earlier in my racing career, when I would get ready for a race, I was super stressed, so much so that it was hard to sleep at night. And you're just wrecked when you wake up, and now you're even more stressed out because you didn't get a good night's sleep and you got to go race. The more races I've done over the course of time, the less stressed I become.
There you
and
go.
I don't put the same amount of stress
Yeah.
on me, to say that word over and over again,
Yeah.
as I did in the past. And that helps me have a better experience.
Yeah.
And so,
What did you not eat last night or on Saturday night?
I didn't have sushi.
So previous podcast, Jake has said sushi basically before every race, right?
Just about. Not all of them, but just about. Yeah.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
And he PR'd. There you go.
Yeah. With sushi, he could have broken 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah. 30 mile an hour average out there.
Sushi power. Yep. All right. Anything else to add to that? Stress release. Moving on. All right. Number 5.
Number 5, reason to compete. What is it?
It can be a family affair. You can get the whole family involved in this thing.
I won't talk about this one. I think I'll exclude myself.
Well, you can talk about it from a perspective of being the child.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
At least where we're at, there's almost, and it's, it becomes a certain age that the kids can get involved. They can't always do it, but all of the events that we go to, just about, I can't think of any that don't have a category for kids to get involved, and kids can actually be license carrying race members for the Oregon Bicycle Racing Association, and I believe for USAC, the United States Cycling Association, to race bicycles. So that's a neat thing where, you know, mom and dad can go out and the kids can go out, and there are certain races around here where they've even got like a kiddie race where you've got kids that are like 3, 4, 5 years old out there racing around on little bikes or little scoot bikes and whatnot. They're having a blast, and so the whole family gets involved, and the kids see mom and dad out there training. The kids see mom and dad out there racing. The kids see mom and dad out there having fun with their friends and their like-minded friends, and that becomes kind of a lifestyle choice for them moving forward. We're like, well, mom and dad did it. I had fun doing it. I want to do that too, as opposed to becoming super introverted, video game playing over.
On the live feed, which you can't really see either. It's a picture of my 9-year-old daughter, who's now 22 and would be terribly embarrassed if I was telling this, but too bad.
She can defend herself.
She has this absolute look of death looking at me, like
biggest scowl I've ever seen on a child.
I don't like you
stare.
right now.
And I think it wasn't because she didn't love the race. It was because
Did you go slow? She was mad at you?
No, I think it was, Dad, quit taking my freaking picture.
She was at that age where she hates pictures. Hates pictures.
Hilarious. Yeah, get your kids more.
Get your kids. Family event. Go to a triathlon.
They'll hate you
They'll
for
hate you
it.
forever.
They'll hate you forever.
All right, moving right along. Number 4, the health benefits of being a competitive athlete in racing.
Wait, really?
I know.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where it's like, up to a certain point, it is good to exercise. All of us at this table overdo it.
Yeah.
it
Probably.
just a little.
I would love to see somebody link in the YouTube some article. It's like some outdated article that's telling you that marathon running's unhealthy for you or something. Some poorly done study.
I really do think that like running is good for you. All of these sports are great for you. The way we do it is extreme, I think. And Evan, show off your latest wound, your war wounds.
I'm doing good over here, you know. Here's the good news. Fell down on the non-drivetrain side. So the bike outside of little Di2 caps, absolutely fine.
All right.
Both the Di2 caps popped off.
Oh, geez.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, solid health benefits. If you want to know more about said health benefits, go back and listen to all of our old podcasts.
seriously.
We've talked about it ad nauseum. So, all right, number 3, it keeps you honest. It keeps you honest with your training. It keeps you honest with staying consistent and just
This is my favorite one.
This
actually.
is probably my favorite
Yeah.
one too.
It's difficult to go out at a race and fake it if you
It is
haven't really
good,
been training.
good peer pressure.
Yeah.
Competition's good peer pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And in this day and age, with all of the ways that we connect to the world and using the likes of like Strava and whatnot, if you didn't post it right, it didn't happen.
Right.
So almost none of my training is actually real. I basically don't train according to that.
It's amazing
you're
you're
pretty consistent.
fast
Yeah.
with
I
all
know.
the training
Well,
you don't do.
I
And
know.
then you add to that, though, that we've got heart rate monitors and cadence sensors and speed sensors and power meters and all of these fun gadgets that show how we actually did. So, it's kind of neat that, like, if you know that you're out there supposed to be doing, some kind of a workout, you need to, post your stuff up and show yourself that you actually did it. Like, all right, I checked off all my boxes for all the interval sets that I was supposed to do. I checked off the box of my time and distance and duration and all that other fun stuff. That's keeps you consistent. Almost,
It does.
It can be a fault, but it makes sure that like if you're posting that up and you know that you're supposed to be doing it, that's one thing. But like when it gets to race day, if you didn't do well, it's very simple to go back and look at your profile and say, well,
Did I put in the work?
see
Yeah.
that.
Did I
Yeah.
put in the work?
yeah, you put in 3 rides over the last 3 months, and you're wondering why you came in DFL. So
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably one of my favorite things on this list is just like having that competition looming on the calendar. It's just you are so motivated to go out and put the miles in, put the work in, and I do enjoy all the miles and all the work, but it's nice to have that extra motivation of being like, and I have a race that I have to do. Like I like to think that, if I don't have an Ironman race scheduled or whatever it is, that I'll still go do all this work and still have all these fun rides and things like that. But the truth is like, there are other things that distract in our lives. And when you don't have that impending, huge race or whatever it is, it's so easy to just be like, no, I'm not going to go out today. Yeah, it's beautiful out, but I'm going to, do XYZ instead or whatever it is. There's plenty of work for all of us to do other than, ride our bikes. So
Sure.
it is nice to have the motivation.
Gotcha. How's it keep you honest, Lance?
It actually focuses my training for me. You know, it makes me make sure that I keep on with what I'm trying to do, because I've been in lots of race situations where I went into the race feeling really good and thinking that I'm fairly fit, and got dropped in the first 10 miles.
So you'd
Oh,
say,
man.
would it be fair to say that that's one of the key ingredients to the Hepler Focus?
Yeah, I think so,
Yeah.
because I want to do well in the races.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, number 2, the social aspect, time with friends.
Do we already talk
Yeah.
about this?
Kinda.
This-
Well, we talked about
this one to me
connecting
is
with
the most
like-minded
important.
people.
Yeah.
but
I
we
mean,
didn't-
It is
so-
a great reason to race.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
It really
you go
is.
to if you go to a competition
Yeah.
and you have friends and teammates and people that you meet, it is
You know, people.
like we got to run together yesterday.
yeah.
I got to see.
Oh yeah, we randomly ran into a really cool guy. when
we
were
met a
looking.
random person that just
Yeah.
like turned around on the trail and started running with us, and
Yeah,
super,
made a friend.
super cool guy. Like,
that's cool.
Ran in college. Like, it was awesome to chat with him for a while.
Yeah.
There was a couple other people that weren't even on our teams that I just got to catch up with a little bit. It was just
I've
really,
met
really
Quinn
nice.
through these
Quinn,
sports. Yeah,
super
awesome
nice.
people.
Yep. All right. The number 1 reason for us to compete would be it's fun.
It's fun
Yeah.
Is there anything
when
that-
you win.
Suffering is fun.
Suffering is fun.
It is. Suffering is fun.
Can you guys come up with anything that contradicts that?
Oh yeah, it's easy to contradict that. I mean, did
my
you
entire
crash?
my entire approach like contradicts that, but it's fun to me.
Yeah.
Evan, was it fun yesterday?
It was.
Was
I
it?
was fine with it. It
Yeah?
really was.
All
Like
right.
to me, like because I've talked to Matt about this. Ever since the sport of triathlon endurance sports has become more like a job to me, I now have more fun with it, which
think
makes
so? Really?
no sense. But yeah,
Evan, you're one of those people
Fun's
that,
relative,
that
yeah.
look like they have died at a finish line.
yeah, and
You
I
are
love
like
it.
completely destroyed at a finish line. It is
This is why Cassie makes fun of me
hilarious.
for being a finish line diva. It's because when I hit the finish line, there's usually nothing left, and that to me is very fun. I enjoy that. So
That's awesome.
That's good stuff. Yeah, it's definitely fun. I mean, I can think of times where maybe it's not so fun. I mean, when you're out there in the middle of like a breakaway, or you're at the last like mile or two of a time trial, or a 40K time trial for that matter, and you're trying to turn yourself inside out because you're trying to beat somebody to get some LaCroix. Is that fun?
LaCroix motivation.
you could have turned off the engine. the
those
last, like,
10
2
minutes
miles.
aren't fun, but after the finish line, you're
Yeah.
like, gosh dang, that was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. There's few times that I can remember that are more enjoyable than the slow, easy ride back to the car after a race
Yeah.
is over. And
Yeah.
just
That
kinda like,
endorphin rush is unbelievable.
oh my God, that hurts so bad, but oh my God, it's over.
Yeah.
And I feel so good right now, and I'm happy with the fact that I pushed that little bit extra.
Yeah.
That's fun. So we've got a cool picture from us last year that Jack's last name was Gosnell.
Gosnell?
Yeah. He took, and it was at the Barton Park road race, and that for me was probably the hardest road race I've ever been a part of, being in that break and having to basically go solo for about an hour and 45 minutes at threshold. So
Jeez.
turn around, and we're starting to make the trek back after the finish, and picked up a couple teammates, and I was just shellacked, but it was so nice because I had Ian Gibson on one side and I had Michael Myers on the other side, and they both had good races as well. Michael won his age bracket, and I did really well, and Ian did a great job of supporting, and we were just kind of like taking it all in for a second, but I was shellacked, and I just remember that I'll never forget that picture, and just I knew exactly how I felt in that
Sort of the
moment.
straight arm slumped overhead look, or was
Yeah, a little bit. And we're just riding away, so you don't even see our faces, but I know exactly what was being said in that moment. I know exactly how I was feeling, and I was just elated with the fact that I almost just died from trying to finish this race and
and
win
it was
it.
somehow fun, right?
Yeah, and just like enjoying in that moment of suffering, and how much fun that was, and that's something that I'll get to keep for the rest of my life. That was fun. That was a moment that
There you
I'll
go.
never
Yep.
forget. So even though it sucked in the
Yeah.
moment, but it was fun. So,
Yeah.
what's your funnest moment, Matt?
Oh, I mean, so definitely setting personal records on the track were just there. I mean, you work hard towards a goal, you hit that goal, you have these breakthrough races. I mean, it's pretty neat to be able to do that. That's a magical feeling for sure.
yeah.
And it's probably one of the reasons that I want to go back and coach, high school kids and things like that is, is you get to see these kids have breakthroughs, and they all have breakthroughs all the time. Not like us. Like we have breakthroughs very sparingly, or not at all. But these kids are just, they're pumped. Whether you break through a big 5 minutes for the mile, like you have these huge barriers. They're super cool, absolutely fantastic to watch. People
and you get to see that
these things
every single year. You get to see those kids go through those experiences.
Yeah. It's got
that's how work ethic is built. I mean, we talk about. I think fun. The term fun gets a little bit misconstrued. Because Jake just described what some people would consider medieval torture. Almost, but it's fun. There's something about that Jake attaches a positive memory to. There's the social aspect. Clearly, I bet his heart got stronger. So there's your health benefits right there.
Yeah, good stuff. Any other fun moments from Mr. Romance over here, Mr. Giggly Pants?
Last year, the whole short track season was just an absolute blast for me.
Yeah.
I just had so much fun during that race. And part of it was because we had so many teammates out there.
Yeah.
I was getting progressively better. It was a 7 race series or something like that, or 8 race series.
8 race series, yeah.
But I kept getting progressively better as the weeks went on, and to have all those teammates out there, and I won't forget that week.
That's where you clicked. I mean, when you started back from your road from recovery, when you hurt your back and had your surgery and all that other fun stuff, and you were deconditioned and you were out of shape and you were heavy, and then you got back and you started training. That's where it all kind of clicked for you. And you could see you getting faster every week. You could see the smile getting bigger every single week, and your results got better every week, and you ended up winning your category.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, I was
riding a lot of miles too. A lot of miles ridden.
Yeah. Evan, can you tell me how 25 hours a week of training is fun?
There's something really, really satisfying to me putting together a training plan and it actually happening.
Yeah.
So just open it for example, these next 2 weeks, I have a goal of hitting just about 30 hours each week.
Oh, jeez.
And a lot of intensity in both. A lot, it's not volume weeks. It's going to be intensity weeks.
Wow.
And
is it enjoyable to look back on your weeks
yes.
and be like, I hit this week?
Yeah.
I remember being, obsessive compulsive, writing all my miles down.
And you were a big volume intensity guy when you were racing.
It was definitely there's something about it where you're looking at your week and you hit that line and you're like, there's a 100-mile week.
Yeah.
There's that this math added up and that is kind of satisfying, right? There's joy in that for sure. Having
I almost enjoy the training. I love racing. I love competing.
Yeah.
I love the building of fit, the feeling of getting fitter, the feeling of knowing. I know at least for me when so I'll just kind of open up with on the bike with the crash. I really need to get my mojo back on the bike. I do not feel confident on the bike anymore like I have in years past. Usually, no matter what race I'm in, I usually delusionally in my head think I'm the fastest guy on the bike no matter what race I get into. And I don't feel that way anymore. So in these next 2 weeks, I know I have to build that confidence back.
Yeah.
And that is exciting to me. That's fun. That's satisfying.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I still don't feel like myself. And yesterday was a huge vote of confidence for me personally because I put down a PR time and I finished much better than I thought I would. I was hoping, I'm like, just don't be 40 minutes, don't take that long. and nothing against people that it took you 40 minutes. That's still a great accomplishment. But for me, I mean, I don't want to go from being
relative to everybody,
29 and a half to 40 minutes kind of thing. And I was just hoping for the best and I had no idea where I was going to come out. And that does give you a huge vote of confidence when you go out and you have a good performance. But I'm still reeling because I still don't feel like myself, but that was big. So for you, I mean, you got to go string some stuff together and that should help.
Yeah, string some days together. Yeah.
I got a question from somebody watching on the live feed. He wants to know, would you still enjoy riding bikes if there was no element of competition?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I think we all would. We all love being out in the sun and cruising and finding that perfectly smooth road or being out in the countryside. We all enjoy that experience.
Yeah. You just enjoy going fast.
It's easier to make the excuse that you have to go out and do it when you have a race coming up. But I mean, last year I didn't really have a big race on the calendar and I still went out and rode bikes with my friends.
And still loved it. And still had a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that question though because it would take a mindset change for me.
Yeah.
I know it would take a big mindset change for me.
Yeah, you're in a different headspace
Well,
than,
yeah,
than
for-
us old guys.
For me right now, like if they said like all racing's canceled this year, that would be really hard for me
Yeah.
to deal with now all of a sudden.
What would you do if,
I have
if
no-
Iron Man was like,
I'd
no
set up my
racing?
own course and race it.
Yeah.
I would have to know what time I'm going to do. Like that's,
Evan becomes a race promoter
yeah,
extraordinaire.
I would make my own race. Yeah.
Right.
It would change things for me a little bit. Of course, I love getting out on my bike and enjoying the sun and the weather and
Yeah.
going fast. But there's always this thing in the back of my head as I'm out there riding is I need to push this section a little bit because I don't want to get dropped in that race.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so it would.
Would anybody time trial if there was no competition? No, I would never go do a 30-minute set again in my life.
Well, Strava.
This is
Or
true.
for-
Strava
that's
would
still-
just
that's
become
that's
like
still a form of competition.
That's still competition.
Yeah. Exactly,
Form of
yeah.
competition.
Yeah. So I mean, if you take Strava off and you take the race calendar off,
Yeah.
would you still enjoy?
So we're basically
out
in
there
like
riding.
the 1800s right now, riding,
Well,
then, aren't we?
We all enjoy going fast.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's just
we all enjoy getting fitter.
yeah.
I might not ride my road bike nearly as much,
You'd hit the
Oh, I
gravel
would
bike.
definitely grab a gravel bike and ride with you a lot
or
more.
a mountain bike.
Yeah, exactly.
I might be doing those two things way more if I was
I would
not
trail. I'd
competing
never
or
touch a
cared
track
about
again.
Strava.
The primary reason why I got on a road bike to begin with was to get faster on the mountain bike. It wasn't because I wanted to go out and race road bikes. And if there was no like racing in general, I probably would have never even gotten a road bike, or it would just be sitting in my garage collecting cobwebs and dust.
Yeah.
I'd be on my mountain bike because if I have to compare the two, I think that mountain biking is more enjoyable. You don't get to see quite as much, but you get to see a lot more beautiful stuff, and you
Yeah.
get to go more rural places. You don't have to deal with cars running over. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
And
a
that was
nice
what
thing.
you
So
started. I mean, that was
that's where I came from.
yeah. Your fun and your love for the sport was developed through mountain biking.
Yeah, yeah. And then I naturally started training on the road bike, and I naturally fell in love with that. And you know, it's a big part of who I am now. But yeah,
I like that question. That was a very good question.
That was from Ryan Lee, of course.
Nice
Thank
work,
you, Ryan.
Yeah.
cool. All right, let us move on to one more little quick bit here. I didn't really give the guys too much direction on this, but basically, I just wanted to talk about our junior development team, the Dial Junior Development Team, which I think has got a lot of promise. We've got a lot of kids already signed up to get started on this, and it's going to be something I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to be something that's going to turn into a big, big deal. We've got roughly 22, 3
God, that's
kids already.
That is that's an awesome number right there. That really is.
That's not including the 5 or 6 other kids that have already inquired about the team since
Yeah.
we kind of made the
Oh,
announcement.
and it's going to grow.
So
Yeah.
basically what the team's going to be is to get more kids involved in cycling and racing their bicycles, and we're going to try and be the conduit to that. And going to be running camps, going to be running clinics, going to be running training sessions, going to be working with the kids on bicycle safety, bicycle maintenance, training programs, nutrition, just basically everything that we know about cycling, but kind of boil it down into something that's palatable for a young youth. And by youth, I mean kids that are race age 10 and older. There might be some like pre-academy stuff that I want to roll out down the road so that we can get more exposure to the kids that are in that
17,
state.
18, and a high school sort of group.
Well,
or-
there's that too, but I'm thinking even about the kids that are like the 7, 8, 9, 10 years old that are 9 years
pre
old.
to the junior team.
Exactly.
Got it.
They're not
Okay,
old
got it.
enough yet to start racing because we need the kids to be of a certain maturity level, and they need
Kind
to
of
be
like
able
a
to.
tiered junior program.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
So just
Okay.
running some little workshops for these kids to kind of get some pre-exposure, and making sure that they're falling in love with their bicycles. So anyhow, the kids that we're wanting to work with, I think that this is going to be a pretty big program, and I'm hoping because I've put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it, that it becomes something special for the kids. And it's a big part of why I built the team. It's not the only reason. It's a multifaceted thing, but we've kind of built a little bit of a war chest to help support this program to a certain degree. And we're going to be trying to get as many kids out there racing. And I've got people who have already said that they're willing to volunteer their time. And there might even be some paid positions that are involved with this as well. But it's going to be a really neat program once it all kind of comes into full focus. And right now we're still kind of like focusing a little bit on exactly what some of these things are going to be, because we have to go out there and try them out and make sure that it's going to work. So, setting up like a group ride and doing stuff outside on the road, that's going to take a little bit of work to make sure that those kids are safe, but it's going to happen. I mean, we've got to, because some of these kids want to get into road racing. It's simple things like going to a parking lot and working on like bike handling skills. That part's
Yeah.
easy, but once you get them out there on the road, that's a different beast, because now you need to have people that are there to help protect the kids and making sure that they understand all the rules of the roads. But doing stuff for indoor training sessions, making sure that we get them out to the races, making sure that they're doing their homework and getting them set up with like say a Zwift account to work on their fitness level. That's going to be kind of like the whole program, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I was just curious, do you guys have any questions?
Is it going to be like a separate team?
They're a part of our team, but it's kind of like we'll call it a subcommittee of the
Okay.
team. So,
So they'll still, if they do race, they'll still race under the Dialed Cycling
oh
team.
yeah. It's just
wouldn't be like the Dialed Cycling development team.
yeah. And I've actually, maybe you guys can give me a little bit of your insight on this as well. We've got the Dialed Cycling team, and I like it to be a global thing. And I want to show recognition to the women on the team. I want to show recognition to the juniors on the team. So when you go and you look at our team roster, it's broken out into the men's squad, the women's squad, and the junior squad. I don't want to, separate people. I don't want to segregate people within the team or create these little fractioned pieces of the team. Do you think that that's a problem? Do you guys think that that's an issue?
I actually don't think that's a problem, because just like we were talking about categorization,
Sure.
it kind of breeds that that accomplishment positivity and not getting beaten down all the time. And
Yeah.
I mean, we know like as strong as Nels is, like I mean, if Nels was to go out and hammer with you and Lance every single day, like the poor kid's gonna get beat up. To have that little bit of separation so that Nels and the other really good juniors can kind of have that little competition, and then Kim on the women's side can have a little competition with those top women too.
Yeah.
Is I think beneficial.
Yeah. So for me with the team, like I really want to celebrate everybody's accomplishments, and I want to celebrate the parts of the team that make the team special, and the fact that we've got a men's team, and yes we've got a women's team, and yes we've got a juniors team, and I want to keep those all somewhat separate when you're looking at a roster. But let's say you're brand new to the area or brand new to racing or whatever, and you're looking for a team. I want in let's say you're a female, I don't want to have you scroll through and like there's 1, 2, 3. I want you to be able to go to a section and say, oh, look at all of these women that are on these team, and this is the stuff that they're doing for them. That's the reason why they're broken out. So I kind of went back and forth on that in my brain, and I'm like, that's probably the best way that we need to do it. So to answer your question, Lance, it will be a part of the Dialed Cycling team, but this will just be the junior development squad. Yeah. And we're trying to develop them as cyclists so that they can, when they come of age, start racing in categories and hopefully be a part of racing for the rest of their life, or build all the necessary skills.
Win the Tour de France one day.
Hey, there you go.
This is what Europe's doing that America isn't. Dialed Cycling's going to produce the first American winner since Lance.
And it's not like we're not doing something new. It's been done a million times. We're just trying to put more energy and effort into it, and we want to make it special, and we want to learn from what other programs have done that have been successful. So
and it's a beautiful cycling region.
Yeah, and there are some other junior Devo teams in the area that do really well, and I look to them and say, fantastic. What are you doing that's generating success? This isn't a competition about who can build a better team. We just want to get more kids out there riding their bikes, and that's important to us. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question.
It does. Yeah.
Any question, Matt?
Age ranges for that group, and then costs.
Age ranges. Okay, so it's race age, which basically is the age that you will turn in that race calendar. So for my son, he's a perfect example. This will be his first year. He is currently 9 years old.
Is 9 the earliest you're kind of thinking?
Well, he's
Is
9.
it what you turned that year?
Exactly.
That
He
year?
will turn 10 in June,
Okay. Yeah.
and so that makes him race age 10. If he turned 10 on December 31st, still race age 10. So you need to be race age 10 to be on the team. And we're not going to let just every single kid come on there. They still need to display that they have a certain level of maturity. And if the kid doesn't know how to ride a bike, it's not to say that I don't want them on the team. It's like we need to get some of the remedial things out of the way first. You need to be able to compose yourself, and you need to be able to ride a bike. If you don't know how to ride a bike, we will have some workshops maybe down the road where we can invite you to come out there and work on some of those tips and tricks. And like Lance said earlier, when we went and did the Bikes for Kids, you worked with a 10-year-old kid.
11-year-old kid.
Never ridden a bike
Never
before.
ridden a bike before.
That kid would be race age appropriate to come out and race and say, I want to come out and race. And then we get out there and it's like, I don't know how to ride a bike yet. Well, we don't have the time to work with that kid just yet. So, and then
The other was costs.
the cost. So the part that I like in this too is like if you were to go out and play club soccer, or you're going to sign up one of your kids for club soccer, Do you know roughly about how much that costs per year?
Couple $100. It depends on if you're doing
Rec versus club
Yes,
is completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're going to go play rec, that's just signing up for your local recreational soccer thing, and it's a couple $100, and you get a uniform and a volunteer coach.
Yeah.
If you're going to go play club, that's a much higher
you
level.
go from
Yes.
a couple $100 to a couple $1,000.
And then if
Yeah,
you go to
basically.
academy after that, it can be very
Yeah,
expensive.
so like my daughter, the club that she plays in, I want to say that they've got multiple tiers. I think the lowest tier is like $900.
Yep.
And that's minimal stuff that they're doing, and they still have to buy all their uniforms.
Plus gear. Yeah.
And then the more competitive teams, they're paying upwards of like $1,500 to $2,000 a year.
Yeah.
We're not charging any of those fees. No. So our process of going out and actually procuring sponsorships and turning the team into a nonprofit entity and creating different channels that we can actually raise money for the supporting of our team are going to help us offset some of those things. But there will be costs. So if they want to be a part of, say, like a particular structured training program at the training studio, then there's going to be a fee for that, but it's going to be kind of like more of like an a la carte thing. So if you want to go to a particular workshop and it's going to have fees and people's times that are associated with it, there will be a fee for that. I don't have those exact numbers at this
So
moment.
it's kind of pay what you want, like depending on what you want to do with
Yeah,
the club.
but we still want to try and keep it as reasonable as we possibly can.
Right.
And we're still going to go out there and we're still going to try and do more fundraising. We're going to possibly put on an event. We are going to try and get more sponsorship dollars. And the more that we can do for on that front, the more it's going to be able to help us offset the costs that these kids would have to pay. So
Yeah.
let's
and they
just
would
say
need a kit, which is also
correct.
a decent.
And that's something that our team will be offering here very soon. We have juniors specific kits that they can purchase that are going to be grossly discounted.
Okay.
We use Castelli, so they're helping us build a kit. And
I bet I might be able to convince a certain sponsor to cover those costs entirely.
there you go, Lance. So those are
Mr.
the kinds of
Connections
things.
over here.
Those are the little wins that we're looking for. And if we can do this, we can get more kids riding bikes, and we can also reach a segment of the population that's a little bit more underprivileged and get them riding bikes as well.
Yes.
I don't want riding bikes to be something based on what your zip code is and what your parents' affluency level is, and
Right.
that was the threshold that you had to meet. No, and this is another thing too. I'm working on having, as we go through, money that's allocated to sponsor a certain number of kids that come from a background where it's like mom and dad, like he or she has got this immense talent to be a great cyclist. We can't afford a bicycle, or we can't even afford like a helmet kind of
Yeah.
thing. So what can we do to get these kids taken care of? That's what we're working on, and we're getting there. I mean, we're filling up our coffers, and it's working well, and that's what we're going to put our money towards.
And this is where I think your development team, Jake, is very different than what's done in other locations. I don't know that for a fact, but when you look at the affluency rate in cycling, there's not a lot of the Lance Armstrongs coming up through it anymore. Somebody who comes from maybe a single parent household and definitely does not have the financial means. So what you're putting together is something really cool and special.
I hope so.
Where do they get started, by the way?
If nothing else, it's going to be number one on our list. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
watching the looks on these kids' faces when they get to go out and race their bicycles, and just seeing kids on bikes in general, and that just takes me back to when I was a kid. I had so much fun riding my bike, and I wish that I could have had some of these opportunities. I got to still have them in life, and I want these kids to know this at a much younger age, that this is a fun thing that you can go out and do. And it gets them out of harm's way. They're going to be too freaking tired to go out there and
Yep.
cause problems. They're going to be
Can't sell
connected
drugs
with,
when you're riding a bike.
Yeah, we just
Well, that's
Yeah.
another story.
we just went through
Your
10
drug
reasons.
money goes towards biking.
Yeah, there you go.
We just went through 10 reasons to compete, and to do that on a bicycle for a kid. That's gonna. I think it's gonna raise better kids. I honest to God think it's gonna raise better kids, and not for nothing. There's this effect when the kid goes out there and starts doing this stuff, and parents come around and they start seeing all these cool people, and the people that care about the stuff that are, they're fit and they're having fun and they're smiling. That's infectious. They're like, I want some of that.
Yeah.
Give me some of that. So now we can maybe connect with a different person or someone new that would have never thought to jump on a bicycle.
Yeah.
And how many stories on our team, just getting into the health component, how many stories on our team started with, oh my God, I was 100 pounds overweight and I just started riding my
Right.
bicycle. And here I am today, insert male name, middle age, weighing 180 pounds and super
Right.
fast. None of us sitting at this. I'm talking about other people.
Yeah.
It's changed their lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's talk about all of the Civil War based stuff that we're looking at in society, and kids that are becoming introverted, millennials who don't
Becoming
like to suffer.
depressed. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
These are problems. Cycling can solve these problems, folks. So let's get kids riding bikes.
And God forbid they swim and run too. Then me and Matt get to hang with them, and they just become even more awesome.
Yeah.
Evan, was your question like where do the people go? What do they do?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
their what's
If
the starting
10,
line?
how do I get
they
started?
go find a website somewhere
Sure.
on the interwebs?
So you can go to the Dialed Cycling Labs website or Dialed Cycling. They both point to the same place. And if you go up under our Teams tab, the top of the website, you will see basically an option there, the Junior Development Team. You can go on there and read a little bit more about it. And at the very bottom, there's a little form that you can fill out and shoot that over. And we will get you some more information. We will connect with you, and we'll get you out there riding bikes.
Wear an orange. There you go.
Yeah, and if you're somebody somewhere else and it's just not reasonable for you to come connect here, look around locally. Or if you're somewhere else and you have a team or you're a part of a club and this is something that's of interest to you, I've done a lot of homework on this, and I've put on a lot of time, energy, and effort and research, and I kind of think I have it kind of figured out. I'd be more than happy to share all of this information that I've put together with you so that you can do the same thing, because I think if we all just start connecting and doing this sort of stuff, challenge each other to put together cool teams like this and working with kids, even if it's here locally and it's a competing team. I mean, we're competing like as athletes, but we're not competing for bodies. We're trying to put more bodies out there. Let's work together on this.
Yep.
I'm all for that.
cool. Sounds good.
Good. All right. One last thing, Lance. One last thing is.
I wanted to talk about the Alpenrose Dairy just a little bit.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, Alpenrose Dairy is kind of the home base for our Oregon Bicycle Racing Association, and they're in danger of it being sold out from the family members who own it right now, and Obra might completely lose their home base, which is where we store all that stuff. And so it's in the middle of a lawsuit right now.
Yeah. Not only do we store our stuff there, I mean, we've got the velodrome there.
The velodrome,
Outdoor velodrome?
one of the only 20 velodromes in the United States
Yes,
is
There's
there.
not a lot. Yeah.
And we have 15 or 20 races there every year, other than the velodrome races.
Exactly. Yeah.
So losing Alpenrose Dairy would be a huge blow. There's one thing that you can do personally to help that. There is a petition that you can sign. And if you go to Oregon Bicycle Racing Association's Facebook page, the OBRA Facebook page, there is a link there that you can go and sign the petition that says, yes, we need this in our community.
Was that link
Use it.
put up pretty recently?
This
It
morning.
was this morning.
This morning? Okay.
Yeah.
I already signed it. Yep.
Everybody
Yeah.
should get on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for bringing that up, Lance.
You bet.
Yeah, that's a tough situation. So hopefully something good comes of that. So cool. Evan, one last thing.
Going to the other side of the world here, the WTS ITU series just began last weekend, and the first race was awesome. It was in Abu Dhabi, super fast sprint triathlon. And I'm just going to so there's this new British kid on the circuit. Now this is very specific to our triathlon crowd I'm talking right now, I know, but his name's Alex Yee, and he came from the British track club. So he was really brought up as this guy who was going to be potentially a British Olympian. Actually, on this next cycle, I think he would have made it as a 5K. He ran 14:07 off the bike, barely losing to Mario Mola, who is the 3-time champ now, I think, who ran
What did
Mario ran 14 flat.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody who's ever run a 5K fast, if you were to bike 20K as hard as you can and then run a 14 flat 5K off of that, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is incredible. That speed. Oh my goodness. But yeah,
Wow.
this Alex Yee kid is actually going to be somebody who, if he continues to develop like this in Rio, he could be a gold medalist in Rio.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy fast.
Yeah. Matt, one last thing.
I did. So I'm working on a couple videos, and one of them I want to ask you guys what you think. The video topic is like how to keep up with a fast group or a group that's faster than you. Basically, the concept was thought up on. Came up with this one when I was in California, trying
personal experience, yeah.
trying to keep up with the dialed cycling, training camp, and basically like the key concepts are like going to be like, like draft people, like communicate really well. Like here's, like what's the story? Like I'm not as fast as group. Like don't take a lot of pulls in the front, like, stuff like that. And then other things like, if the group is what, if you catch up to the group or whatever it is, like don't take a whole bunch of time and stop and, pull out snacks or whatever, just kind of keep doing that stuff on the road, like keep pushing forward and things like that. My thought process of like, hey, push ahead of the group if if they're breaking for some reason. I was a little bit concerned, like, okay, well, that can go bad, right? Like, like the group can decide to do something different or whatever it is. So I'm not super confident in this video topic idea. I'm not sure if it's a good one or not, but, I have a lot of video footage and things like that so that I can support this story or whatever it is with all the video stuff that we did from California. So parts of it I think are okay. I'm not sure what I think
that's a good topic.
I
And I
think
think
it's a great
that's going to be one of those things that you're never really going to truly nail it down and
Right.
and have this perfect solution, but it creates a good conversation piece and you never
Right.
know what comes from that. So
And the video will start off with like, here's all these benefits to riding with a group that's faster than you. You will get faster. You will push yourself harder than you would if you're riding. But and like we've talked all about this stuff before.
Sure.
So I don't know. We'll see. That's the idea. Potentially this week. I don't know if I'll be able to get it out. It'll be this week or next week. So
yeah, looking forward to seeing
I
that.
love that idea.
That's a good one.
we'll try.
My one last thing is that I'd like to congratulate my wife on doing her first like big long outdoor ride yesterday. That was pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know
Now,
anything about this.
it wasn't long by our standards, but I don't want to take anything away from her because she rode with her friend, Jenny Hamness.
Yeah.
And Jenny rode, I think it was just shy of 25 miles. I can't remember what the total
Nice.
mileage was. Outside on a road bike. I mean, she's ridden outside on a mountain bike before, but all the road stuff that she's been doing has been predominantly on the trainer. So for her to go outside and to know that, like, hey, this is kind of
Clipped in and everything?
Yeah, clipped in and everything.
Nice.
Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
she had to do some descending and working on her like, general bike handling and whatnot. And coming back, they rode into the east wind. they had that nice headwind all the way back for about 12 miles. And
It's probably good that she does some of these rides without her husband. No offense.
yeah,
Yeah.
Probably.
It's just one of those things like being
She's got a
married-
nice riding partner now.
where you're
Good.
like,
Yeah.
Thank
you're
God.
married and you should not spend time together.
No.
So it was neat to see her do that, and I did get to spend a little bit of time with her, kind of going through some of the basics in case there is
Yeah.
a problem. Like here's like I helped her pack her saddlebag and showed her what each thing was and how each thing worked. And at the end of the day too, I was home just in time for her to leave, and I could have played SAG support if need be. And
Right.
she didn't have any issues, thankfully, and she went out and she had fun, and it was motivating for her, but it was something that I was really stoked to see because she did something that I love.
Yeah.
And I hope, fingers crossed, she falls in love with it. And when she gets over this whole like triathlon mumbo jumbo that you guys have.
I was about to say
Yep.
she's a step closer to triathlon now. We've almost got her met.
So once this year's over, she may or may not continue to do the triathlons. Knowing her, she's in that phase right now where she's still trying to master the swim component. She's still
Yeah.
trying to master the cycling component of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that sometimes for her is frustrating because she wants to master everything quickly because that's
Right.
how she goes about her life normally.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes a little bit more, and watching her limp around and being tired and fatigued and hungry and
Yeah.
sometimes grumpy because of all that stuff. She understands where I'm coming from now sometimes, but it's just neat to see her go through that whole process. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that if she sticks with the triathlon once she masters all of it, that that'd be good for her because she'll still be on the bike. But if she doesn't do the triathlon component, I'm hoping that at least the bike component sticks for selfish
absolutely.
reasons so that we
Yeah.
can do more riding together. So
Nice.
Yeah.
good job, Rebecca.
Yeah. Congrats, Rebecca. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, and Evan's been helping her along with her program too. So thanks for your guidance there, bud. So.
Yeah.
All right, that is a wrap, and this was a long one. Sorry.
All good stuff.
If you guys want to say hi to us, check out all of our social media at Dial Podcast on the old Facebook, or Bookface as Evan would say, and the Instagrams. And feel free to drop any of us an email anytime. All of us get your emails if you do send them to us, and any of our first names at Dial Podcast, and we'll be happy to hear what you have to say. If there's something that you want us to talk about, let us know. We're pretty good about making those things happen and work out. And we've got some cool special guests coming up in the near future too, so stay tuned for some fun stuff. You guys, thank you again. The pinnacle of my week.
Yes. Definitely the highlight.
Absolutely.
And it's sunny outside this time.
Yes.
Whew.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, you guys. Have a good week. Bye for now.